Thank you, Lee. In the next few minutes, I'd like to talk with you about two red letter days. First is a red letter day for me, as has been alluded to by Lee. The second, and I think this is much more important, is a red letter day for all of you. And I don't mean some of you, I mean literally all of you, including whoever's gone out to find their dessert, everybody. May I start with a word about red letter days? I asked my married daughter, with whom I meet about once a week, to generally put the earth back on its orbit and adopt other public spiritual things. And could she please, in her daily communion with the internet, tell me a bit about red letter days? According to her, it's been a big deal for quite a while. It goes back to the Roman Senate and the practice of having important days, significant days, denoted by a red letter. The second red letter day, however, is much more significant in a collective sense. So let me come to that shortly. Last week we had I thought, brief but very interesting talk from Brian Lynch, who enlightened us on various forms of award and scholarship funded by Rotary International. At the conclusion of the talk, which I have to say very much skirted the personal commitment made by Brian Lynch and a few others toward the selection of top caliber people, he talked about the nicety of language and the way in which they managed to get 3 awards in 1 year from our district by differentiating between the classes of award. And consequently, instead of having, say, 2 recipients that year, we had 3, all of them top-flight people. Then later in the same meeting, we had a sergeant's session from our immediate past president, who in the course of covering the routine fines explained that something which he chose to call an amnesty charge was scheduled to be increased. Now, that's actually the reason why this was a red letter day for every one of you, because as William Somerville might say, have I got a deal for you? This is an occasion for just today, and just this session, and just these people at this venue, where your euphemistically styled exoneration charge can be reduced from the mooted $10, which will obtain forthwith, to a mere $5. And so you can stick with the practicality and no-nonsense approach of Sir Ed in deference to the occasion. You don't have to dress up, although my source, namely Jenny, says that the practice of red letter days is still observed by the judiciary in Britain, where the High Court judges still attired in scarlet on designated red letter days. I'm not asking that you dress up today. I don't think Briscoe's have a dress code for their 50% discount program. So I'm going to adopt the same largesse for this group. But what I want to explain to you is that everybody in the room, that is to say, every person at every table, will produce a $5 note or $5, or sign an IOU chip, because Rebecca, who never makes mistakes, tells me that there are ample slips in the place. So at the end of the day, when we figure out our catering charge based on the attendance, then I know that the sergeant's proceeds will be that number of people times $5 equals the total. I think that's about all, really. I said to my daughter that she have a suitable joke, and normally she's pretty good at that, but she'd done the first part of the request very, very adequately, I thought. But I was thinking on my way to this meeting that I remember reading about in the 1950s sometime they had syndicated humorists, and one of these was a guy named Richard Armour. So I'm not going to give you a joke, because frankly, if you're saving $5 per head, every one of you, I think that's sufficient of a red letter day without requiring a joke. I'll just give you a piece of philosophy for the week, and that was from Richard Armour, who said, when I was young, my father said that I should try to get ahead. Today I told my young son, Stephen, he'll do well if he breaks even. So there's a thought for the week. Now let me just be clear about what's to happen this now. This is a doing thing, not a thinking thing. $5 per person in the plate. And I'll leave the tables to be self-monitoring. So end of the day, number of people here times $5, and that's what the fellowship. Thank you.